Hello Crows, welcome to the first of hopefully many members only vids. In these catch up with Joe vids, I'll be letting you know how life in the channel is going on so far. First off though, I want to thank you for being here and helping this adventure be easier and more enjoyable. And I'm not just talking about the YouTube adventure, but also just the adventure of life in general. There's been a lot going on and every little bit helps. Right, the first thing I want to talk about is the plan ahead. The overall plan to 2026 is just to survive. It's going to be a very extremely hectic year. So for the channel, I currently have planned 10 videos for the month of January. We have 3 situational videos, 2 regarding the new year and what I'm hoping to see, and 1 vid on Anthem shutting down. We have 3 hype videos, 2 for Exodus and 1 for the Expanse of Cyrus Reborn. 1 Dragon Age theory vid, 1 Hogwarts Legacy theory vid. I know I kind of said in a post that I might not do Dragon Age, but you know, I've got a few more theories left, so I might just run out the well in a manner of speaking. And then there's the vid I'm doing right now for you lovely crows. There's a couple other little side things going on, and last but not least, a more game design focused video regarding quadruple A games and the dangers they could impose for the community or the industry, which is kind of interesting. In my opinion, you know, it was really interesting kind of looking through all that. And of course, any breaking news or clue vids for the RPGs I have my eye on. I'm actually got 2 working on right now. I could have started working on this like a week ago, but I needed a winter break to recharge my battery in a manner of speaking. Whatever I don't get done in the first week of January will likely end up being pushed to the next month, if applicable. I'm going back to work that week. The Monday on the following week, I start my next online class. It's the only math class that I should ever have to take on this adventure, hopefully. I've been eliminating all the associates and core and bachelors and program prerequisites online. That way, when I transfer to the university, the only thing I should have to do is the actual game design program. But yeah, back to the point. I'll have work, school, family, farm. We got like 12 chickens. With spring approaching, we'll be putting in the seeds in the greenhouse in a few weeks or so, I suspect. Then of course there's my independent like level design studies I got going on. Additionally, I'm writing a book. I'm creating a tabletop RPG, and I'm developing a choose your own adventure mobile game using the Godot engine. Why Godot? Because it's free and open source and I need all the money I can save right now. I'm also working on my health. I had the whole health scare thing last year and I recently turned 30, so there's making time to exercise and meal prep and all that fun jazz. And somewhere within all of those things is time for content creation. But there's also some extras. You know, I'll be visiting Orlando again, you know, for a weekend at the end of January. That's going to be fun. I'll be preparing to move to Utah. I got my eye on a few apartments and planning to apply in April. If that works out, I should be moving out into the city come the week of July 4th, which will be interesting. Moving 2,000 miles in a U-Haul in July 4th traffic. But that's kind of how it has to be. I have to qualify for residency so I can afford in-state tuition at the university, so I also have to work at the factory long enough to get my bonus, so it's not ideal, but it's what I can do. Suffice to say, it's going to be a very challenging year ahead, and I think this will be fun. Life without challenge is boring, and I intend to have quite a lot of fun along the way. So, what other plans do I have for this channel? In regard to member stuff, I plan to do this kind of video at least once every couple of months. I like to do membership Q&As. In fact, if you have a question for me about anything you'd like me to answer on, just drop it down in the comments. Aside from that, I'll likely be linking a store at some point to sell merch, mostly t-shirts and the like. Currently looking for an artist. If you know any good ones, be sure to let me know. Whenever major RPGs are coming out that allow me to create my own character and whatnot, I'll be posting polls to allow you to help decide what one of my characters is going to be. And I'll make a video showing how well that character turned out. I think that'll be actually super fun and cool. And when it comes to those major RPGs that I'm super excited for, I'll be treating them a little differently this time going forward. As I mentioned in a previous post, I sort of like cover games and then they release and then I just sort of drop them. So there will be like hype videos which are designed to get people to join me on the hype train about the game. The momentum of the speed getting faster the closer we get to launch. Then when the game is launched, the channel will go into hibernation, essentially, for about a month. And I'll take my time to play the game, play it a few times, and really get to know it, you know. When you're doing this kind of content, the immediate instinct is to feel a rush, a pressure to get as much content out about the game post-launch as soon as possible, because the larger channels likely have already played the game in advance and already have something to go on day one. So there's this weird feeling of panic, and if you give in to it, you stumble into some mistakes. Case in point, my Dragon Age the Veilguard review, which is now unlisted. I played the game as fast as I could. I got through it. I whipped up a video with my rose-colored glasses still glued to my face, and, I got my ass justifiably chewed out for it. Granted, there are people that are just mean for the sake of, it was Dragon Age and that was the thing to hate, but still, there were some really valid points about how kind of biased I was being, so I gotta watch out for that. When you have to review a game the beginner's way, the most valuable thing you have is your opinion, because that is something that nobody else can replicate it. They can have similar opinions, but they won't exactly have the same one, which is why it's important to take a step back. See what everyone else is already talking about, get to know the game, and discover the angles that may be overlooked or underestimated, or underrated, I should say. I've learned that if you don't put value into what you're doing and what you're saying, then why should anybody else put value into what you're saying also? Anyway, that is what I'm going to be doing during the release month, and after we're going to have the post-hype vids. The first one's being like segmented reviews. What I loved about the game, what I disliked about the game, what were my favorite levels, what levels were not that great, the best missions of the game, the worst missions of the game, companion rankings, all that fun jazz. Essentially attacking the game from different angles and kind of getting multiple pieces of content out there. That way I'm not just doing one review that immediately gets absorbed into the biomass of content that YouTube has for it. That way, hopefully, I stand a chance. So yeah, that's what we're going to do moving forward. I'll let you know as time goes on. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being part of the Crow clan, or whatever we want to call this, the murder of crows. I'm open to suggestions. But yeah, until then, as always, be safe, be well, be kind. Bye-bye.